Welcome to the deep dive where we try and cut through the noise and get right to the good stuff. Today, we're zooming in on a really fascinating piece of modern horology. It's the Casio G-Shock GMD-B300, a watch that, well, it might just redefine what you expect from a G-Shock. So our mission here is to take all this material you've given us, the articles, research, the insights, and really unpack what makes this particular watch so unique. We're going to try and dissect how Casio has kept that legendary toughness but also brought in this unexpected blend of tradition and really cutting-edge modern connectivity, and all in a package that kind of breaks from G-Shock's often quite imposing size. So the big question we're starting with is this: how has Casio actually created a G-Shock that's genuinely, you could say, petite, without losing any of that iconic resilience?
Yeah, that's really the perfect way to frame this deep dive. Casio's journey with G-Shock, it's always been one of just relentless innovation, hasn't it? For decades, the focus was pretty much entirely on brute force ruggedness, pushing the limits of impact, water resistance. But what we've seen more recently is a strategic pivot. While they're still absolutely prioritizing the durability, make no mistake, Casio's also made this conscious move towards enhancing comfort and broadening accessibility really through size. The GMD-B300, it isn't just another model. It's almost a statement piece, subtly hinting at a versatility and a market appeal that goes way beyond what many people expect from the G-Shock name.
Okay, let's unpack that shift then. Because when you think G-Shock, yeah, you probably picture something robust, almost oversized like a tool watch. They're famous for shrugging off drops, dives, daily abuse, you name it. But petite, that hasn't really been in the G-Shock vocabulary, has it? Yet this is exactly where Casio seems to be making these significant strides. Our dive into the material, it shows this really clear investment by Casio, designing G-Shocks that aren't just stronger and lighter, but significantly smaller. We're talking reduced case thickness, diameter. And this commitment has led to what many are calling some of their most comfortable watches ever produced, which is quite a claim for G-Shock. The GMD B300 is just a prime example of this evolution. Now, while it's marketed, let's say, with a certain demographic in mind, technically for women, and some of the brighter colors reflect that bite. The specific reference, the GMD B300 one, the mostly black one, it's highlighted as being effortlessly wearable by, well, pretty much anyone looking for that iconic G-Shock look, but, streamlined.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how Casio is broadening that appeal, going beyond its traditional, often larger fan base. The GMD B300 acts like a crucial bridge, you see. It offers that instantly recognizable G-Shock aesthetic, that look, but in dimensions that are just far more versatile. The design keeps that familiar octagonal shape, which our sources call, quite aptly, versatile. But to really appreciate how much smaller it is, let's get into the specifics. We're looking at a width of 43.8 millimeters, an impressively slender 12 millimeters thick, and a lug-to-lug length of 46.4 millimeters.
Right, and that lug-to-lug is often key for how it actually feels on the wrist, isn't it?
Precisely. It's often a better indicator of fit than just the diameter. And despite that classic G-Shock build, it weighs a remarkably light 41 grams. That's with the resonant steel case and the strap.
Wow, 41 grams is, yeah, very light for what you expect.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of how it wears, on a larger wrist, it comes across like a scaled-down version of that classic bold G-Shock look. Still impactful, but, less dominating. On smaller wrists, say, a child's or a woman's, it offers a presence that's described as bold but typically isn't oversized. So substantial without being cumbersome, it's genuinely adaptable. The courses also position it as a, quote, close to entry-level sports watch that boasts a lovely modern design. And crucially, it delivers more features than you traditionally expect from a Casio at this price point.
Okay, so what is that price point then?
A very accessible $120 USD.
Right, $120. So you're getting that core G-Shock toughness, a modern look, much more comfortable size, all for a really attractive price. That combination definitely sounds compelling. But okay, given all those features and that price, it makes you wonder, how does Casio actually power this thing? Our deep dive material points to one particular choice that, well, might be a consideration for some listeners.
This is where Casio made a, let's say, conscious design choice, balancing features and cost. You're right, the GMD B300 notably leaves out solar or light power generation, which means, yeah, you'll be looking at a replaceable battery, typically needing a change every 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so not ideal for everyone, maybe.
For some, especially those used to solar G-Shocks, it might feel like a slight drawback, sure, but as the material suggests, it's generally seen as not a huge deal, and certainly isn't a deal breaker for many, especially when you factor in that $120 price tag again.
Fair enough. It's a trade-off.
Exactly. In fact, there's even this hopeful note in the research suggesting a future solar-powered version, even if it cost a bit more, could be, quote, stellar. So, yeah, it's a trade-off that helps keep it accessible while still delivering those core G-Shock capabilities people expect.
Okay, so no solar power. A thoughtful concession, perhaps, to hit that price. Makes sense. Beyond power, the material describes this as a simple activity watch, but with some, smart elements. It's definitely not trying to be a full-on smartwatch, though. So what exactly does it pack in on the smart side without sort of overwhelming you?
Sounds like it focuses on the essentials. Like for activity tracking, it's got a pedometer, right? For counting daily steps. Now, it's important to note, this is described as a basic sensor compared to, say, the fancy accelerometers in high-end smartwatches. So it's really focused just on step count, not distinguishing between walking, running, or other specific activities in detail.
Basic but functional for a general overview.
Right. But for a straightforward look at your daily movement, it's perfectly fine. And crucially, it absolutely retains that classic G-Shock durability we expect. A lot of shock resistance and 200 meters of water resistance.
Yeah.
Standard G-Shock stuff. Plus, you get those standard but always useful digital time tracking tools, like a solid alarm and a very useful stopwatch or chronograph. Yeah, and what really elevates the experience of these quote-unquote simple features, makes them feel anything but basic, is the display and the user interface. Unlike a lot of traditional G-Shock models, the GMD-B300 actually boasts a higher resolution LCD display.
Ah, okay. Better clarity.
Definitely. And for the GMD-B301, that black version we're focusing on, it features a negative display. That's the dark background with light text. It often gives it a sleeker, more contemporary look compared to the standard LCDs on, say, the green or pink models, the 303 or 304. The watch case itself has 5 distinct pushers. One is actually cleverly tucked under the bezel, and that's for the backlight. Makes it easy to use.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and the research consistently praises the volume of information Casio includes on the screens. It also notes the snappiness of the system when you're navigating through menus, and even the clear chirps and beeps that the hardware makes when you press a button. It's those little subtle, refined details in the user experience that really make it feel well-engineered, especially for its price point.
Okay, so it delivers a legendary G-Shock resilience, useful basic activity tracking, and a surprisingly refined user experience for its category. Good stuff. But here's where it really seems to embody that blend of tradition and modernity we talked about right at the start. And it's a feature that, frankly, feels pretty essential in today's world. The material we looked at consistently highlights Bluetooth integration as the best modern feature of this GNC B300. This connectivity, which, yeah, we are seeing more and more across Casio's lineup, it genuinely seems to elevate the watch's utility for you, the user. The process sounds straightforward. Download a Casio app on your smartphone, connect the watch, and then generally you can tweak watch settings, maybe share your basic activity data with your phone. It just brings this new layer of convenience, doesn't it? Marrying the classic timepiece with your everyday tech.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the profound benefit of this Bluetooth connection, it isn't just about convenience settings. It's actually a fundamental reimagining of how a digital watch ensures perfect time accuracy.
Ah, okay. Tell me more about that.
Well, think about it. We kind of expect digital watches to be spot on, right? But achieving that precision with, quote, all but the most expensive quartz movements can actually be surprisingly tricky in a standalone watch. I know my son, for instance, he absolutely loves this feature. He really values digital watches that are perfectly accurate more than anything else. So this Bluetooth integration, it essentially solves that problem. It means automatic time synchronization, which is incredibly useful, especially, like you said, when traveling and crossing time zones. The watch just updates itself. Simple as that. And this whole approach, it stands in stark contrast to the older methods. Casio used to rely heavily on those radio-controlled watches. Remember those?
Yeah, the atomic ones.
Exactly. They tried to connect to signals from atomic clocks, but only in specific regions like Japan, the US, parts of Europe. The limitation was obvious. Those signals just aren't globally strong or reliable. By embracing Bluetooth, Casio is brilliantly leveraging the near ubiquitous ownership of smartphones. Everyone has one.
Right. It taps into the network that's already there.
Precisely. It's a pivot from relying on broadcast accuracy to achieving networked accuracy, making it, as the sources say, the modern efficient way of ensuring your digital watch is perfectly on time all the time. This isn't just efficiency. It's Casio subtly redefining that old set it and forget it idea for the digital age. It turns a past geographical limitation into a pervasive global strength. It seamlessly integrates that most essential, modern convenience-accurate time right into the core G-Shock reliability.
That is a powerful insight. Yeah, this shift to networked accuracy, it's a game changer, especially for anyone who travels a lot or just, appreciates absolute precision without having to fuss with settings. But for those who maybe cherish the standalone independence that G-Shocks are kind of famous for, does this reliance on a smartphone, even for something as fundamental as time, does it perhaps detract from that core G-Shock spirit? Or is it just an intelligent, necessary evolution? Like, is this Bluetooth feature mandatory? Do you have to use it?
That's a really crucial question. And the answer, I think, speaks volumes about Casio's understanding of its users.
Hmm.
Absolutely not. The Bluetooth connection is entirely optional.
Okay, good to know.
You can still fully use and adjust all the features on the watch natively on the device,
Yeah.
just using the pushers on the side. No one is forced into using Bluetooth or connecting to a phone. It simply adds this very welcome layer of utility and precision
Yeah.
to what is already a very capable and handy digital sports watch.
Hmm.
It's an enhancement that respects user choice, not a requirement.
Hmm.
And I think that's a really important distinction for a lot of G-Shock enthusiasts out there.
Right.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? The Casio GMD-B300 really emerges from this deep dive as a compelling blend. You get G-Shock's legendary toughness, but with this more compact, versatile design that really defies the traditional big G-Shock image. It packs in genuinely smart, practical features like that incredibly useful Bluetooth timekeeping we just discussed, making it a really accessible entry point into modern digital watches that still packs a punch. It's clear Casio is offering a lot of value and some really thoughtful design for that price point. This deep dive truly reveals how a brand, even one with such an iconic legacy like G-Shock, can just keep innovating. It's about refining those core strengths, durability, obviously, while strategically integrating highly relevant modern conveniences, like that ubiquitous smartphone connectivity for perfect time accuracy. And doing it all without sacrificing an attractive and accessible price. It's not just about cramming in more features, it's about thoughtful, strategic evolution that addresses real-world needs in really practical and, frankly, elegant ways.
Yeah, and as the material consistently emphasizes, Casio certainly isn't asleep at the wheel, are they? They're constantly evolving the G-Shock line, demonstrating that even the most iconic products can adapt, grow, and keep appealing to an ever broader audience. It proves that tradition and innovation can absolutely thrive together. So for your final thought to mull over as we finish up, in a world that's kind of inundated with increasingly complex smartwatches, ones that promise to manage every single aspect of your life, how much smart do you genuinely need in a timepiece for it to be perfectly practical and truly useful in your daily life? Do we sometimes, I don't know, overcomplicate what a watch should at its core simply do well? Something to think about.